Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa Zheng. I'm the founder and mentor for Smart Corporate Days. Recently, I have got my franchisees asking me, oh Vanessa, when we go into do viewings, buying property, looking at property, what other things we shall be doing? So today I'm making a video to share some tips with you on how you can do a successful viewing when you go to see the property. So let's get started. So the first thing that you will want it to know before you do a viewing, you got to plan it out, what it should look like. Because if you just turn up all of a sudden doing this and that, if landlord or agent asking you some question or you don't know how to answer it, then it ruins your day and you might not be having a good negotiation. So the first thing we would do is that let's check the location, right? Because you need to ask for the full address for the property. And in terms of the location, how do you check? You wanted to do a desktop research. So before you even go out and do any viewings, the number one step you need to do is to carry out a desktop research. You put the address to Google Map, looking for the location. It could be in the middle of nowhere. Now, if you're doing a high-end property, luxury holiday let, that might be okay. But if you focus on HMO, contractor market, you can't be in the middle of nowhere. So depending on the type of strategy that you're going for, you're just looking at the address, put it to Google Map, and then have a quick look about what the area should look like, just give you some idea. Now, what happens if you put the address in the Google Map, it look at the location is not exactly what you're looking for? What should you do? Should you cancel the viewing or should you go for it anyway? My recommendation is go for it anyway, because in the property business, it's not about property. The property business is about people you meet. Who do you know? So even if the location is wrong, what only means is that you focus less on the property itself. You focus more on building the relationship with the landlord and the agent so that you can find out if they got similar property but in a different location. So similar property in a location where you're looking for. So then when you turn up to the viewing, you look around, you explain why do you not think the location works, but you love the property, and ask if they got other properties in a different location. That's how you do it. Don't cancel your viewing because location is not right, because these people might have another property somewhere else. Yeah. So second, when you do a viewing, you must, before you go there, you must ask who's actually doing the viewing. A lot of people don't do it. They just go out and meet, oh, who's that viewing? Oh, is that an agent? Or is that actually the seller themselves in the house? You will find out why, because the number of time you spend in that viewing, if you're doing it with the seller or the agent, are different. And also what you also want to find out is that, is it an open viewing, like many other people turning up, not just yourself, or is it a one-to-one private viewing? Because oftentimes I attend a lot of viewings where the agent will invite 59 people on one day. And then with that 2-hour window slot, you got people coming in, going out, coming in, going out. It's like really destructive. You can't ask proper questions and you don't really, build any connections. And I don't like those viewings. So before you go to do a viewing, you want to find out actually as many information as possible. Who am I viewing the property with? Is it the seller themselves attending the viewing, or is it going to be with the agent? And is it going to be a private viewing, just me viewing the property? Or is it going to be open viewing with a lot of other potential buyers? Okay, so because once you found out about it, you can then time how long it takes you to build that connection in order for you to make an offer later on. So this is the agent. So this is the agent or the landlord. You wanted to find out about that. The third thing you wanted to find out about arranging the viewing is how much time is this viewing arranged for? Why should it be important? Because normally agents will arrange it for maybe half an hour if they were to do it. But if it happens to be a weekend, evenings, if the agent not doing the viewing, the seller's doing the viewing, then once you're in, it could be an hour or more. So once you know that it potentially you have more time that you could spend talking to the seller, you can then do a proper fact finding with the seller, and you could also build a relationship. But is this to with the agent, depending on who's actually doing the viewing, you could also asking the right information that you need during the viewing. Now, the next thing you wanted to look at when you arrange a viewing is that you want to find out about the layout, or what we say, whether or not the type of property is the right type. What does it mean, the layout? Is like 2-bedroom house. It could be 2-bedroom open plan kitchen. 3-bedroom house could be 3-bedroom upstairs, two reception room on the ground floor, and with 2 car parking space on the drive. So there are huge difference in terms of our business model with the type of property. If you've got extra bathroom, for example, 2 bathroom. Now these things you can actually find out before you book the viewing. You can look at it in the desktop research. Also, when you do a site visit, you wanted to look at the layout yourself to see, is there any way you can potentially put a bedding cupboard for storage if you're doing service accommodation. You wanted to know how many cars can you park outside, even if it's road car parking, because mid-terrace house, if you've got a lot of neighbors, the space to park a car usually are very struggle. But if you have a semi-detached house, you got less neighbors, then the parking usually is quite generous. With the different parking situation, you will know how this will affect your business. If you're doing HMO, maybe not so much, but if you're running a service accommodation or a corporate let, then car parking is one of the most crucial criteria. So you wanted to find out when you're doing the viewing. This is why sometimes I would advise my franchisees, when they do the viewing, bring a measurement tape with them. And it's funny that one of the franchisees turned up to view a property, and he was bringing the traditional like long 10-meter measurement tape, and the agent have a leisure tape, you know, the leisure measurement, and do it just in a minute. And they were laughing about it. So, and it is important. Don't forget about this. Bring a notepad so you can draw out what kind of layout, what size of the bedroom, if you really like the property. You don't have to do it if when you do the viewing, you don't like the property, this is not for you type of property, then you will do this instead. You will say you like the location, but the property is not suitable. Do they have anything else similar in the same location which you like? Give them the criteria, this, and that. Okay, and without this, it's a deal breaker. So then they got the idea what sort of property you're looking for. When next time they got this kind of deal mutual criteria come up, you are the first that they will contact. But if you don't tell them what you like about the property, what you don't like about the property, then they can't give you something, even if the next deal come up, because they can only guess. They wouldn't know what actually it matters. Yeah. So now, what do you think the next thing going to be? We wanted to know more about the situation of the seller, right? So we call it questions. We also call it fact find. Now, when we do viewing, as I mentioned before, it's not about the property, it's about the people. is about building the relationship. There is only a few things that matters to you when you do viewing. One is to build connection with the seller or the agent. Second is communicate the opportunity, what you're looking for, if it's the right one, or if it's not the right one, what are you looking for? Yeah, so you communicate what you're looking for. Then the next one is asking questions about the landlord or the seller's circumstances, so that you can then go back and evaluate the property deal and understand what kind of problem that the seller is facing in order to close the deal, right? If you have no information, you can't structure how the deal should be working. So you would ask a set of different questions about why are they selling it, how much would they need, and you also need to find out how much exactly the property itself worth, and with the difference between how much the property worth to the asking price and potentially how much can you buy it with. And you've got to ask all these different questions so that when you need to actually make an offer, you know how to maneuver, you know how to negotiate to get the best deal that you want. So I hope that you find useful. We look about the location, do a desktop research. We're looking at building the connection with landlord and agent. We're looking at how long you should spend when you do the viewing so that you have enough time to build a connection. Then we're looking at the property itself, the type of layout, the criteria you're looking for, whether or not it matches. And if you don't, then you would want it to communicate what you're looking for and the different questions you wanted to ask to collect the information to find about the circumstance of the seller in order to structure a deal that you can close later on by making the offer. I hope you found today useful. If you've got any other questions you wanted to ask me, please drop your comment below and I'll do my best to help. Thank you very much for watching.